Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, in this frigid morning here in Chicago, February 1st.
Yes.
And welcome to Fitness Fridays with Michael and Tina. I'm Michael.
I'm Tina.
And I'm Dr. Vaught.
Yes.
All right. And
welcome, Dr. Vaught.
We're excited to see you.
Yes, very happy to be here with you.
Let's go. Okay. Hey, everybody. I was traveling for the last 2 weeks, and I was in a warm climate. San Antonio, Texas, 68, 77.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I came into shock yesterday when I landed in the airport. Unbelievable.
It truly was. Shock, right? To come into this?
But it was so funny because everybody down in Texas, I was also in Oklahoma, was saying, how could you live in such a place? Blah, blah, blah. And I said, we say the same thing when a tornado comes through your town.
Yeah,
how could you live here? And I was
yeah.
not far from Moore, Oklahoma, where that last infamous tornado was. But we're not here to talk about the weather. We're here to talk about fitness. We're here to talk about health, wellness, education.
Yes.
But a shout out to all my friends and associates down in Oklahoma City and San Antonio, Texas. Ron and Raquel,
morning,
our cousins.
everybody.
Wow, we love you.
Hi,
we know you're
Cantac.
watching.
Morning, Cantac.
So here we are back. And
Wait, I have to give a shout out. I have to give a shout out to Kelly Devine. It is her birthday today. Happy birthday. And hey, Adele, how are you? Why aren't you here, Adele?
Oh,
Adele.
slacker, Adele.
Wow, Adele.
Slacker.
You were supposed to be holding the camera, Adele.
Kelly, happy birthday, because Kelly Devine, you are divine, as I always say. We love you. God bless you.
And a shout out to Michelle. Thank you so much for filling in for Michael Sena last week.
Michelle, what's up?
Big shoes to fill there,
I'm
Michelle.
Michael
And
from Michael and Tina.
We pulled it off. Go figure.
Yeah.
So thank you to you for being here last week. We're so excited, though, to be here with Dr. Vaught. There is so much to cover with him today.
Wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, and we're hoping we can pack it all into the next...
A cornucopia of facts.
And we're hoping, if Michael can stop talking, that we're going to be able to pack everything in for the next 30 minutes. So,
all right. Well, may I start? Because
please.
we are... Dr. Vaught is a doctor of chiropractic,
Morning,
DC.
Chris.
And he is a healer. Chiropractors have been known to be healers. Thomas Edison said it many, many years ago. The body will be healed by manipulation of the spine. All illnesses and the diseases. We know this is a fact. The medical profession knows it as a fact. All of holistic medicine knows it. And as a competitive bodybuilder and powerlifter for many years, who often pushed too much weight, snapped a muscle, popped a vertebrae. I couldn't walk. My parents drug me on a towel once to get to a phone to call people. I was just absolutely incapacitated. Without chiropractic care, I would have never been able to not only walk again, but also perform again.
Wow, all of that?
All of that,
I think that might be a little exaggeration. But if you've been watching us the last couple weeks, you'll also know that Michael was the first person to go to chiropractic.
Unbelievable.
care.
She's jealous.
So,
Jealous.
So please back up and watch some of our past
listen,
segments.
as a semi-authority, and I'm going to turn it over to the good doctor in a minute. Listen, chiropractic is a wonderful, wonderful treatment, is a wonderful piece of holistic wellness that all of you should experience. And again, I worked very closely with chiropractors for a long time. But Doc, let's get to you. Tell us about...
How long have you been a chiropractor?
Yeah.
Let's start with
this
that.
This is the 30th year, this year.
30
wow.
years.
God bless.
30 years.
Mazel tov.
Right.
Yes.
And you had your own... you had your own health issues.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
Tell us
about that.
That's one of the reasons why I became a chiropractor, was because of my back problems from football and college and stuff like that.
Okay.
But once I became a chiropractor, actually, and believe me, the power that made the body heals the body, and it happens. Health is from above down and inside out.
Okay.
And I believe that wholly the whole time. But I still got sick. I still gets my own issues. I developed a couple autoimmune diseases. So it sort of steered me, in addition to chiropractic care, I started to look at the whole frame and what makes us tick and why we develop these diseases and why we get sick, even though we're well adjusted.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people out there that are sick, but yet then they go to the chiropractor, but they're still sick.
Right, because they think that's a magic pill. Like, I'm going to go get adjusted. Yeah. So you were a chiropractor. You were already getting adjusted, obviously, and then you were sick. You were overweight also, correct?
Oh yeah, I got ballooned to about 300 pounds.
Wow.
So
okay.
And if more than 100 pounds less than that. So.
I mean, he's amazing.
Look at him.
Specimen.
I mean, he was 300 pounds, y'all.
Well, can I just?
That's crazy.
Can I get in a definition? We say adjusted, and a lot of times people in a bad vernacular use.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to get cracked or whatever.
Or drop tables. A lot of
Yeah,
people think about
well,
you know,
they're all
those.
different
Yeah.
styles of it, but healing the body through realignment of the spinal vertebrae is really what you specialize in.
Correct.
As a
Right.
doctor of chiropractic.
Correct.
And obviously the central nervous system having to run through those spinal vertebrae from C1 all the way down to S1, S2 is so important. The 13 bones of the vertebrae must be in alignment for homeostasis. We've talked about homeostasis
Right.
before. But please continue.
Okay, so I would just to back up. So you were already getting adjusted. But then you still became sick. You were overweight. All those things were going on.
Absolutely.
And then you decided to dive in even a little bit deeper, how you could heal yourself, even more so than just the
Yeah, I wanted to find out the why.
Right.
Why being
Right.
sick.
I love that.
And so, with studying more and getting more in depth and figuring out, getting some certifications in functional medicine, I came across all disease basically. 95%, even more than that, is from mitochondrial dysfunction.
Wow.
What is mitochondrial dysfunction?
Yes,
Yeah.
please explain that.
So the mitochondria there's thousands of mitochondria in each cell in our body. They're the powerhouses of our body. There's what supplies energy to our body. So
Okay.
our body can do all the processes it needs to do. So once I started studying about mitochondrial dysfunction and finding out what makes the mitochondria tick, that's what put me down the rabbit hole, so to speak, and started to address some of the major issues that correspond with mitochondrial dysfunction. And it's a disconnect. It's a disconnect from our natural being, how our Maker wanted us, and what He gave us to flourish in this world, basically. And everybody is away from it. So
We know. Yep.
everybody's disconnected. So light is so powerful. And anybody that knows me, I'm out every single morning.
Yes.
Let's talk about
We
that.
got to talk about that, Dr. Vaught.
Go ahead.
So
Tell us.
So I know when my body wakes up automatically right before sunrise. I don't
Sure.
use an alarm or anything. And I get out there. I wear these funny glasses. I wear these all over when I'm inside, and they go on as soon as I wake up. They go on too, because I don't want to see bright blue lights before the sun, because what that does tells your brain the lights they have the luminosity of solar noon. So anytime that lights are on or whatever, you're telling your brain it's solar noon. So
Wow.
So the middle of the day?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes,
the middle of the
yes.
day.
So it's not first thing in the morning.
especially fluorescence.
Oh, absolutely, they're horrible.
These are the worst, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So these block the blue light, and the blue light is what causes most of the damage. Unbalanced blue light, whereas in sunlight, blue light is balanced, so it will never hurt you actually. So yeah, so there's a lot to take in. So in the morning, I want to make sure that I see the sun first, because that's what prompts. It makes everything in our body, basically, our hormones. So there's a circadian rhythm. Everybody's heard of that. That's how our physiology functions, off of a circadian rhythm. Well,
I don't know if everybody's heard of that.
If you wake up,
circadian rhythm. Did anybody know that before today?
Google it.
It's light cycles, basically.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is grab your phone and look at your phone.
Yeah,
And
that's bad light.
And you told your brain it's solar noon. How do you think it's going to function for making your hormones and making your melatonin?
Wow.
So,
Wow.
your melatonin is made in the morning, AM light. That's when it's made. And it's secreted at night when it's totally dark, a couple hours afterwards, so you can sleep well and get into a deep sleep. Everybody thinks it's a sleep hormone, but there's so much more to melatonin than the sleep hormone.
Yeah.
Melatonin, essentially, it controls our mitochondrial genome. So it's responsible for the heteroplasmic rate in the mitochondria. Now, okay, what's the heteroplasmic rate? That's the healthy mitochondria that are in the genome. Once we get the heteroplasmic rate gets over 60%, disease sets in. So if your melatonin's shot, you're going to get to 60% a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So the takeaway here is that an increased level or increased levels of melatonin from natural sunlight, but particularly morning sunlight, is key. Because there's
That AM
mitochondria.
sunlight. Yeah, that
There's
AM
mitochondria
sunlight.
in every cell, right? So we have to obviously take care of the body, and that's why we see you on Facebook sitting with your shirt off, just in shorts, in frigid weather. Check with your own doctor before you do that.
But we're going to talk about the cold part too.
Yeah,
But
why he's out there.
Sunlight.
But Doc told me otherwise you end up wearing readers and look like this.
So we shouldn't be living in this state. Then is what you're saying. If we should be getting sunlight, yes. So the sun actually does still come up here every morning, regardless of.
Oh yeah.
Right, you get sun every morning, but it's a.
If it's cloudy, you still go out there. You're still getting 30% of the rays. Of the sun.
Okay, interesting.
So good to know.
You still want to do it.
Good to know.
But one note, melatonin, you never want to take it exogenously. Because your body there's a loop in the body with hormones that'll shut down your melatonin production if you're taking it exogenously.
So from externally as a supplement. As a supplement, right.
So it's better.
What about
to
tryptophan if you're having trouble with sleep?
If you're having trouble with sleep, if you go out in the morning, you're going to fix your sleep.
Okay, let's say you can't get out in your sleep. Are you okay with tryptophan? Just a question. Well,
anything that your body makes endogenously, you don't want to supply it exogenously.
Ah, okay.
So
that's probably a whole other thing. Okay,
well,
it's a whole other. It's a whole other.
Well, we'll have to talk about cannabinoids.
So what's happening with these glasses now?
These glasses, they're blocking the spikes of blue light.
They're blocking this. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
All
so even if we can get into a warm car and look through our sunroof?
If you open the sunroof, it's got to be no sunglasses.
Just checking.
With the heat on.
With the heat on. I just want to make sure. If I want to jump out into my car with the heat on and my scarf,
makes sense.
I can still just open my sunroof and look into the sun.
We're not cold weather people.
Think about the sun. You're actually downloading information from the sun. So there's a few surfaces that need the contact of the sun. It needs to be in your eyes. It needs to be on your skin. The surface of your lungs and the surface of your gut.
Now, we are three. We know this about each other because we're friends outside of being cohorts in wellness. We believe in a very spiritual life, and we believe in the Lord. Was the sun made before Earth? What planet was made first? Because it's got a primary importance, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. The sun, the light came way before the Earth.
There you go.
Yeah. You gotta have light.
I'm a little weak on Genesis.
You have to be
the Old Testament.
Here's the smartest people out there. Supposedly, the smartest people out there. They're not, spiritual or whatever. They say that light created everything. And you know what? I agree with them.
Yeah. Right.
And then you have from the theology.
It's the energy.
Yeah. Then from the Bible you have God is light. So they're agreeing on something.
Yeah. There
wow.
you go.
Yeah. Wow. What a tie-in.
Light. I love it.
Awesome
all right.
stuff.
So
okay.
what else do you want to talk about? We want to talk about the cold.
Let's talk about the cold and why it's so important.
The benefits of the cold.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand them.
Right. We are warm weather people.
That I want to find out.
Okay. So I knew I had a mitochondrial dysfunction because I had some autoimmune diseases.
Okay.
And one thing to note is the crazy rates of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, heart disease, irritable bowel, gut problems.
Wow.
Those three areas are heavily populated with mitochondria. So most mitochondria is found in the brain, the heart, and the gut. So that's where most of the autoimmune conditions are occurring because that's where the mitochondria is being destroyed. So once I went down this rabbit hole, and Jack Cruz was one of the mentors I always follow, and he's been spot on with any biohack I did. It works tremendously.
Okay.
Jack Cruz. JackCruz.com.
JackCruz.com.
CRUZ.
Yeah.
Jack Cruz, great.
KRUSE.
Oh.
Okay, KRU. And we are going to send an email. We'll talk about that later, but we're going to send y'all a follow-up email if you get us your address with all this information if you're not able to write notes right now or you're in the car.
Or if you're in the shower like Adele listening to us while we do this. I mean, Adele, please. It's a family show.
Okay, so continue.
So the light, if you think about it, we were born buck naked, no shoes on, and we didn't live in homes at all. Electrical grids around us 24/7. So we were exposed to light all the time. And we're meant to see 25,000, on average, 25,000 sunrises in our lifetime.
Wow.
How many sunrises has anybody seen?
Yeah,
Right.
not this last week.
Not 25,000 so far.
Nobody
And I
was
don't
seeing
mean-
anything last
And
week.
I don't mean sunsets, I mean sunrises, because the
Yeah.
sunrise, the sun in the morning is more important and trumps everything else. Sunrises, sunsets are nice, but sunrises are a must.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So
certainly for those of us who are weak and feeble with the cold weather, if I may, come spring, summer, this is something we should practice.
Yeah, we should all be
because
doing,
it's
right.
going to give us better health, right, Doc?
absolutely, you can start with just cold water splashes in the face.
Oh, love it.
It's great for vagal tone, actually increasing vagal tone, heart rate variability.
You see the level of intelligence here that
Yeah,
is going
yeah.
over my
He's
head.
amazing.
So that's why we need notes. But anyway, continue, Doc.
So the sun is essentially, half of it is essentially infrared. Infrared, in the morning, you're going to get infrared light, and you're going to get UVA. UVB is actually ultraviolet B light. It comes in about 10 to 2. That's that window where you get tan. I mean, not tan, but I mean you get,
Yes,
you
yes,
get vitamin
yes,
D.
yeah, yep.
You get vitamin D. Well, before that, UVA comes out, and that's what produces your melatonin once it enters your eyes, and your dopamine. Serotonin, all those
Pain
things,
relief.
All those things are made from the sunlight, actually.
Wow.
Melatonin, skin color, dopamine,
dopamine.
pain relief,
Yep.
right?
If you're not out there in the morning getting the sun, where are you going to get your melatonin from to produce it later when you need it?
Wow.
So we have a prop. Should I turn on
Yeah,
the
let's-
infrared?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
watch this.
Now this is something. Wait, we're going to turn this so just everybody can see. So this is an infrared
Near infrared.
light,
This is red light
Oh.
therapy and near infrared.
and people
That's
can
right.
you purchase this,
Abso-
Dr. Hott,
absolutely.
somewhere that we can have this in our own homes?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
That's bright. I love it.
Now, we used to have an infrared sauna, right? What
Right.
do you think about those?
I've got one at home, actually.
Fantastic.
So
Okay.
they're more of a full spectrum because
Yes.
they produce heat.
Right,
So
Yeah.
near infrared won't produce any heat in your tissues.
right,
The mid and far will produce heat in the tissues, and you'll sweat profusely.
right.
So, yeah.
And I used to use them for preparing for
Yeah.
bodybuilding contests to
Sure.
sweat out my subcutaneous water.
Now,
But-
how long should we do the sunlight in the morning, Doc, or how long should we give ourselves in an infrared light?
You can start at 10 minutes on an area and work your way up.
Okay, so that's a sufficient time.
right,
Is
right.
10 minutes roughly?
10 minutes that's sufficient time. A half hour you can go. Here you
So
go.
people can
Yeah.
see
Okay,
here.
so 10 minutes at least. If we can give ourselves 10 minutes in the sunlight or get
It's
this
gold. Yeah, the sun. Nothing trumps the sun. So if you
in. Okay, nothing trumps the sun.
We know it.
Agreed.
Yes,
Agreed.
we believe.
So
Yeah.
another thing that people are going to say, they've been told by their doctors to put sunscreen on. They've been told by their doctors to wear
Yeah.
sunglasses when you're outside. Well, that's like putting that's like putting a tarp over a plant. How do you think it's going to flourish?
Yeah.
It's not going to, because
Photosynthesis, protein synthesis, not going to happen.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're going to get sick.
Right.
And that's what's happening. I have so many, patients that wear sunglasses until I talk to them about it.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, they can't take their sunglasses off because their eyes water and they don't
They
realize
can't adjust.
They
Yeah,
can't adjust.
right,
They don't
can't
realize
adjust.
why it's happening. Their eyes are
Ah,
watering so
interesting.
much because the tearing in the eye cools the cornea, and by cooling the cornea, you're able to absorb more UV light. So
Yeah,
it's
so
telling
great.
you
It's a protectant.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a protectant.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, it wants you to absorb more UV light, so you can your more bodily processes can happen. So it's important that sunscreen. If you go out in the morning and develop what they call a solar callus, you're going to be able to go out in the afternoon and not be burned at all. So
Wow.
if you go out in the middle of the day, you can burn. You can
Yeah.
burn because you're not abiding by the circadian rhythm. We're supposed to be in the sun all the time.
All the time.
So if you're in the sun all the time, you're not going to develop all these skin cancers. and
Yes, I was
stuff
just going
like
to
that.
say, now people I'm sure are sitting home going, what about skin
Skin
cancer?
cancer.
It's
It's
the
funny
first thing they're
because-
thinking about.
As you go to the equator, towards the equator, the closer to you go towards the equator, all mortality, all cancers drop significantly.
Unbelievable.
So-
Amazing.
Melanoma, you're talking, okay, so why is it when you get to the equator, cancer and all that it gets much more lower as far as that goes because the sun is healthy for us. That's what we're supposed to do.
I love hearing this.
I mean, that's knowledge.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't know that.
we don't know this.
Because I have a dermatologist that says, stay out of
Stay out of
tanning
sun.
booths, stay out of the sun,
Right.
wear 54 sunblock,
Right,
blah, blah,
right.
blah. But we
But
actually...
it is that morning sun
Right.
Morning
that's so
sun.
important that we want to start getting in to adjust our
Or
body. Right.
Yeah, or excuse me, T, but or is it not true that 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight during the day on the face, back of the hands and the forearms will help our vitamin D level? Or is that a myth?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so vitamin D.
You can produce 15,000 to 25,000 IUs of vitamin D from 10, 15 minutes of some sun exposure.
Wow.
And that would mean
Not
don't
even
take a
burning.
supplement.
Not
Then
even-
you don't even take a supplement.
prescri-
then, right?
a prescribed
you don't have to take
vitamin
a
D,
pill.
right.
You don't have to take
And by the
a
way,
pill.
just factoid, 95% of Americans are vitamin D deficient. Am I right, Doc?
Absolutely.
I mean, we know it, you know, and
It's because they don't go in the sun.
we don't go out in the sun and we stay away, or you live in a
here's-
inclement area where the weather is, you know, like this, and you're
And here's-
challenged.
Yeah, and here's the kicker too. Taking a vitamin D supplement, like I said, if your body produces it endogenously, you don't
Yeah.
want to take it exogenously.
Right.
Because what happens when the sun hits your skin is that's when vitamin D gets sulfonated in the tissues.
Right.
In its usable form. Supplement-wise, you never get that form.
And wait, I love what Doc said. So because we have the ability to go into the sun and get it ourselves, he says taking a supplement is like having somebody else do your push-ups for you.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
It just doesn't work.
when you can go get it yourself, so I love it. Okay, so and then just to wrap up about the cold,
Yeah.
give us
Okay.
the benefits of the cold
So-
again.
So I go out in the cold, not mainly for the cold. I go out to get the sun on
Sure.
most of my tissues.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
The cold is a bonus.
Yeah.
So as you're out in the cold and the longer you're out there, your core temperature will drop a little bit. When that core temperature drops a little bit, the distance between your respiratory proteins in your mitochondria shrink. They become closer together. So,
Yeah.
Wow.
and
Yeah.
if anybody knows anything about electron transport chain, closer those respiratory proteins are, the more efficient that process works. So that means you're going to channel your electrons quicker, and you're going to make ATP. ATPase is going to spin faster and make ATP, more ATP, more healing.
Let's talk about
And
ATP.
you're not talking about just feeling cold on the outside of your body. You're talking
This is
about the
internal.
core temperature, visceral, what we say,
Internal,
deep.
yes,
Yeah.
internally.
And there's a mitochondria on every cell in our body, correct?
Thousands of mitochondria.
Yeah.
Right.
Thousands.
Well, there's
Thousands
billions
of
of cells in our body. So then you would say, would you recommend a cryogenic machine where you go in and they have nitrogen for 3 minutes and freeze your whole
Yeah,
body?
those are really big right now to go
Yeah,
to the
very
cryo.
big.
They're,
What do you
they're
think?
huge, and most people who use them probably won't like what I say, but actually I don't prefer those because the temperature is so high and it only hits the surface of the skin, actually.
Superficial.
And-
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is your largest solar panel, and you don't want to damage your largest solar panel.
Wow.
So now you're freezing your
Yeah.
solar
Right.
panel
Right.
instead of allowing it to absorb the sunlight that it needs to heal it and repair itself.
Right.
Right.
Makes sense.
So
Wow.
it's that internal core that we
Yeah,
want to be
yeah,
cooling.
yeah. And I do cold water immersion too. That's even quicker than out in the cold.
Whoa.
I can 5-10 minutes
Yeah.
in 30-degree water, and,
Right.
and you're done.
Well, athletes use ice baths all the
Oh my
time.
God.
It reduces inflammation for them. I mean, that's
So
the
I used to
primary
work
use,
with
yeah.
the trainer up at RIT, my college, and he used to put me, pulled my groin one time, my back, my sciatica. He put me in 42-degree whirlpools. I thought the guy was trying to kill me.
Yeah.
But he
Oh, yeah.
actually was really trying to bring my healing process back, reduce my inflammation, bring those electron mitochondria
Absolutely.
together, and fire up new life in my tissue, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow.
that's what you see all the top athletes doing now when they get injured. They got to go to that.
So we covered sun, all
Yeah.
the benefits of the sun, and again, we're going to shoot this all to y'all in an email. Benefits of the cold,
Right.
believe it or not. Heat,
Fuck.
we talked about infrared.
Infrared and heat.
And now let's talk about food a little bit.
Okay, food's,
Yep.
food's important.
Well, tell us, Doc, you used to be a very large man. Tell
Yeah.
our audience how large.
I was about 300 pounds at one time.
Whoa.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like 300 pounds like this? Well, what kind of 300 pounds?
Combination, actually.
Okay, so there was muscle there. There was muscle.
Okay.
He was a big lifter.
But there was
Okay.
a lot of extra weight though.
Wow.
Yes.
And how did you lose it? How did you get fit like you are right now? You look amazing.
Well, I started to eat a little differently and do essentially lifestyle modification, basically.
Ah.
So there's a little wheel
Oh, this
back
is great.
here.
I love that we have this.
Yeah.
And it addresses
big
nutrition,
fan.
sleep, rest, breath, think, what you're thinking, support, community, love, drink, and exercise. So if you're well rounded and you have all these areas fired in your life, you're going to be healthy actually. So
Food,
But
circle
it's
of
all
life.
those. But it's all those areas.
Right.
This is where we get stuck. It's all the
Yeah.
areas. So it can't be just one thing.
Right.
It can't be I'm just exercising.
Right.
But I'm not doing the food right, or I'm not doing the sleep right, or I'm not doing the breathing right.
Yeah.
And it is hard, we know, because we're all battling life every day. But if we form these habits, even just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So it would become a great habit to go out every morning and just get some natural sunlight. I mean, that's not a horrible habit. That would be great.
That's one of the most important things.
Yeah, I love that.
2/3 how food works for us, basically, we break food down into electrons. And the electrons get transported into the electron transport chain and gets utilized. Well, only 1/3 of our electrons we utilize come from food. Only 1/3.
Wow.
Wow.
So the other 2/3, guess where it comes from?
Sun.
Sun.
Exactly. Yeah, the sun, the
Wow.
water in our tissues, and the magnetism that's created in our body, actually. So food's important, but obviously, if you look at the 2/3, you want to make sure you're firing on those cylinders. So you want to make sure you get optimal sun. DHA, which is you can found in
Yep.
fish,
Yep.
which is good to create the magnetism within our cells. And then comes food. So if you're on the equator, you could essentially have a diet of any kind of diet, and you'd be fine because of the sun.
Because of the sun.
You could eat
And the
chicken.
nutrients in that
You can
soil and that produce.
You could eat chicken nuggets all the time and still
No,
be
he's
fine.
saying from the sun that you're
Yeah.
taking
No,
in.
So,
Right,
not
but
so
doesn't
much
it also nurture that food that's being grown there?
oh yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I was thinking. But I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying.
but he's saying
But-
eat the
but
chicken
I
the
was
nuggets.
solar
Yes,
panel,
Eat
the
the chicken
solar
nuggets if you
panel
got the
of the
sun.
body. Yeah,
Usain Bolt, he was the fastest human.
Yes.
He got,
from Brazil.
yeah, and his training foods were chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
Believe that.
right. And look at
And
him.
that's because he's from the equator, actually.
That's
He's,
right.
he's down close to the equator.
Wow, look at that. Interesting, huh?
Yeah,
So-
but that's good genetics too. That guy. Come on.
It's called equator
That's
genetics.
good genetics. Oh,
if
go
you
on.
if you take him and put him in Alaska for him to train, he would not do what he did.
Yeah, okay. All right,
So
I'll buy
It's
that.
the environment that the cells put in.
Okay.
I'll buy that.
So environment is big. Tina and I talk about environment all the
All the
time.
time.
And where is the ideal environment, climate, and we are certainly challenged here in the Midwest, but Dr. Vaught makes no excuses.
No.
He lives here in Illinois. We're here in Midlothian, and he's getting his proper sun.
So,
Yeah.
so the food, my food that I essentially eat basically came out of my studies too, autoimmunity.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of foods that will trigger autoimmunity and cause like a leaky gut.
Wow.
So once you can address those, remove those triggers.
Yeah.
And those are big. Two of the most inflammatory foods,
Ooh,
which most
let's hear
people
this.
are eating in the American diet are grains
Wow.
Wow.
and dairy.
Oh, yes.
And when I say dairy, I'm talking about
Dairy.
the dairy that is processed and homogenized. And I'm not talking about raw dairy. I'm talking about
What dairy would you approve then?
if you're getting raw dairy from a farmer with grass-fed cows,
Okay.
You're going to have a live food. It's going to be loaded with enzymes.
Yeah.
If you're getting a dairy product from the grocery store or whatever, it's going to be a dead food, and it's going to be problematic when you consume it. So there's two foods,
Wow.
two food
Wow.
groups that if you eliminate, you'll see your systemic inflammation or issues you may be having drop tremendously.
Yeah, totally agree. We always talk about
Amazing.
that.
And then just as a wrap up here,
Yeah.
and isn't it interesting? Once again, my theory about the food pyramid is wrong, right, Doc?
Oh, it's so wrong.
They
Yeah,
got
with the grains, with
they
the
got the
grains.
grains and dairy. Majority, they got it all backwards.
Yeah,
but
they do.
anyway, Doc, this has been amazing.
Yeah,
what
this
a
has
world
been
of
great.
knowledge. Thank you so much,
much.
my friend. You're awesome.
Thank you.
We will have you back, Tina.
Absolutely. So again, guys, we have Dr. Vaught's phone number on our screen here. We would love for you to send us your email address at our website. We're senasationallife.com. Senasationallife.com.
Two L's.
Yep.
Two L's.
I'll put that up for y'all too as soon as we're done. But if you give us your email address, we are now going to shoot an email out to y'all with a wrap-up of today with all these great tips from Dr. Bob.
Yeah.
What I took out of this the most is get in the sun. Get in the sun, people. Go soak up some sun today wherever you can get it.
Here in Illinois or Indiana.
Yeah. We thank you so much for being here with us today. Remember, you can catch us on the replay if you couldn't catch all of it today, or you can catch us on YouTube. Okay? Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Dr. Vaught.
God bless and lots of health.
Absolutely.
Lots of sun.